Welcome back to another podcast episode of Anime no Iesu, lessons from your favorite anime. It's your boy here, Onyeka, host, guest, whatever. And basically, we'll kick it off with our topic for the day, which is really digging into your daddy issues and also what the family history has to do with it. So kind of like, it's an interesting conversation because I don't know if people talk about your history, as in your family history to be more specific, what that has to do with your daddy issues or the link with trauma. But hopefully we can dive into it and help you or a friend, start to see that there's a link and a connection, and also what can you do, what should you look into finding, and how do you equip yourself with the right information to start taking those important steps towards you healing from the trauma of those daddy issues. But first things first, some of the new listeners, in case you're new, welcome, hi. Some of the new listeners are wondering what the heck is Anime no Iesu. So Anime no Iesu is, again, an idea, a brand, basically representing Jesus and anime from the dimension of Jesus revealing those amazing lessons that are within an anime series. Because y'all know there's a lot of stuff going on, visual, auditory. Sometimes you might not track that lesson so easily. So I'm just here to help you pinpoint that, and we'll unpack that through YouTube and other stuff. But basically just help you pinpoint that, hey bro, did you see that lesson there? That I could help you. Just let's drill down in there. So that's what we're all about. And now I'll just get back to our awesome, lovely topic of your family history and those daddy issues. So daddy issues are a real serious thing. We talk about mental health in regards to how it affects so many people, but sometimes which particular issue is hitting people in different ways, and I think daddy issues are one of them, or at least the side effects of them, or the trauma that's brought on by them. And for those who don't know, I'll repeat it again just because in case it's not understood. So daddy issues, keyword being issues, is basically any of those wounds or pains or dysfunctional relationship between a child, even stepchildren can have it, and their parent figure, whether it's father, stepfather. The dynamics are that relationship is now having an immense negative impact on the child, and those issues do not heal with time. They actually get deeper and darker. Their roots go all the way to the depth of your heart, and then they now start to breed other problems, other huge, immense problems, confusion, anger issues, emotional instability, kind of a rejection of the idea of being a father because of that trauma, and maybe even being cold or numb towards the idea of actually loving someone from that parental perspective, and a whole lot of other things. It is a really serious problem, and I say this problem, sometimes it might be understated in the sense that it's happening in every community. The laugh I have here is not because I'm laughing at the issue. The laugh is how unbelievable it is that this is happening in every single community. There's no community that's untouched by the issue of daddy issues, whether you're Asian, black, white, whatever that means, as in African descent or of European descent, wherever you hail from or come from. You know someone in the community whose dad is causing so much issues to their family. And you hear of the problems because you're talking to that friend who's saying, I don't like my dad. I don't like what he's doing in our house. I don't like his issues. I don't like his anger. Or maybe you're that person and you don't know what to do, because those feelings and that pain and trauma can be immensely overwhelming. No one's taught you how to deal with that. Or if they have, then what steps are you taking to actually get it done? Again, pretty serious conversation, but does it happen often? I don't know, because, how many of you just, you're chilling, hanging out with your friends, and you're like, hey, everyone, let's talk about our pain. Nobody does that. I don't think it's as common, because talking about your pain means exposing who you are, and not everybody loves vulnerability, because it's not comfortable. In truth, it's really not comfortable to talk about the real deep, dark issues, but you do have to talk about them. Well, not just talk for the sake of venting, but talking to actually take steps towards healing. And I say this because daddy issues do not happen in a vacuum, because that's a lot of pain for a vacuum. It has a source. there's a trail. There's an actual direct line that shows how these issues go from one generation to another, to another, to another. Maybe even similar to the idea of intergenerational trauma, where one generation was traumatized, and because they never healed from it, it spills over to the next generation who never heals from it if they don't get the help they need. And then every generation is looking worse than the last one, which is just terrible for society and terrible for those individuals, because they may try to find happiness, but an unstable foundation, you can't build happiness on an unstable foundation. It's impossible. What will grow properly, if that makes sense? And the whole point of this family history and trail is just to say that, okay, things have been happening, historical things. And I'm linking this back to Todoroki, because the whole point of this whole premise is kind of talking from the angle of Boku no Hero Academia, Todoroki and his immensely obvious daddy issues in season 1. And basically Endeavor is trying to be what he thinks is a good father, which is kind of, he was trying to, use the tough love approach. But that does not work, in the sense of, like, if you use tough love without the explanation and using real love, you're going to cause problems. This is for anyone who thinks tough love actually works. You might want to talk to the person who you're giving the tough love to, see if they like what's happening. So basically, Endeavor is there trying to become the number one hero, but he cannot eclipse the blazing star that is All Might. And because of that, his frustrations, his anger, his inferiority complex, or something like that, just a lot of different things crystallize, and he's now trying to breed the next I was gonna say super soldier, but that's a Marvel thing, we'll skip that. He tries to breed the next superhero, or the next number one hero, which sounds like a villain story right there, but just twisted. But he thinks he's doing the right thing, quote, as a father, in that he's really pushing his children hard, the ones who actually have the ability to become, I guess, what his dream is. It's a little bit like him living through them, which is very, very, those issues just throbbing like crazy. Yeah, please don't live through others. That's just a problem. So basically, Endeavor is trying to live through Todoroki in a strange way, or raise him up to be like, hey, I have a vision for you. But, causes a lot of issues, pushing Todoroki too far for his age when he's like way younger. He mistreats Todoroki's mom in a very, obviously not pleasant way. And also the fact that Todoroki immensely, he hates his father. He really, really, really hates his father. His anger is real, to the point where he's gifted with fire and ice abilities. The ice is from his mom, and the fire is from his dad, but he says he will never use his dad's ability, even though it's part of him, because he really, really hates his dad. The reason I say this here is because Endeavor's history is in that his own weakness and his own inferiority complex bleeds into Todoroki, but in terms of turning into anger. So I say the history because what's happening to someone's father has an impact on them. And also what happened to your father's father, as in your grandfather, had an impact on your father. So how long does the trail go? And also, what exactly is showing up in your bloodline in terms of consistent issues? For example, let's make this a very real world situation. If for some reason your grandfather was an alcoholic, I don't mean like he drank a bit of wine on a social event or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like serious drunk. Like break the bottle against the wall, beat up your mom, that drunk. If your grandfather was that person, and the trauma of that, because it was definitely trauma. No one gets away unscathed with someone like that in the family. That trauma spilled over to your father, who for some strange reason now also starts being an alcoholic and does the same exact thing, and now he's taking out his issues on you, things he never got to deal with because of what happened with his father. Now you're wondering, why the heck is this guy drinking all the time? Like, is something wrong with him? And he's yelling at you, repeating the words that his grandfather said to him, you'll never amount to anything, whatever the case may be. Now, that is the family history. But what do you want to do in regards to that knowledge? Because now you know, okay, there's something weird happening in this family. Is everyone dying off at a certain age, or is everyone falling into the same exact situation, which is negative? Is everyone in the family, as in when I say everyone, like the kind of the fathers or what's happening in the family? Did your father's father sleep around with all these ladies and all this drama is causing issues? Is your father now doing that? And are you now finding that that's causing a lot of issues for you? Like, where does it end is what I'm trying to say. Like, all these problems, because there is a very, very direct trail as to what's going on. Like, no problem just shows up out of nowhere. I would say this so easily. The problems have a source, they have a root, they have a trail, they have a history. The question is, what do you do when you find that history and when you find that information? So, and Todoroki is going through all of these issues. He doesn't like his dad because of the way his dad treated his mom. So essentially, daddy issues over 9,000, just going crazy through the roof. He's a powerhouse, by the way. I always repeat this. He can blow anyone away with one move. But he runs into Midoriya, as in Deku, who, with his own abilities, is able to match Todoroki, as in Todoroki can blow him away in one shot, which is yeah, it corners Todoroki to the point where, like, he's now realizing that he can't just brush Deku aside. He may not have said it out loud, but in the episode you can see it bothers him because Deku has the power to challenge him and actually pause him and say, bro, you're not okay. And that is a moment, because Todoroki kind of has to listen because he tries to throw his huge ice splash. Deku blows it away with his one for all ability. Basically, Deku has the power to challenge Todoroki, and Todoroki can't just brush him away. Like, Deku asks, bro, you don't look okay. You look powerful, but you do not look okay. And I'm not talking about your face, which is kind of a diss, but that's not what Deku never said that. That's just me. I'm talking about on the inside, like in your heart. You look like there's a lot of chaos happening inside you, and that thing will tear you apart. So now that's my question for you. What's happening in your heart with regards to your own father? If you even thought about him right now, then anger is the first thing that came up. This episode is really for you, because take it from me, that is not healthy. That will really destroy you. Whatever hopes and dreams you have can be undone by that ticking time bomb that's in your heart, which I mean the anger and rage that's just crystallizing and waiting to just destroy everything you're dreaming of. And this is the same path that Todoroki was on, in that he was literally going to lose the fight just because he didn't want to use his father's power to win it. And I say this because Deku pushed him to the point where essentially Todoroki maxed out on his ice powers to the point where it started to freeze certain parts of his body. So because he's pushed so hard on the ice, he's getting a little weaker. He could use his fire side to defrost, but he's like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it because I really don't like my dad. And I say this to people where you could use what's given to you to help you, but you don't want to because of your feelings. Is that the wise approach? But again, this is how your emotions can compromise you, because they're so rooted in pain that they now run the whole entire show. And I say the family history thing again to go back to that, because the family history could also show a lot of unhealed people. Again, intergenerational trauma. Because your grandfather never healed from his issues. He spilled that over to your dad, who never healed from his issues. Then he's now spilling it over to you. It's not the same exact issue. Well, I say it's not the same exact issue in size. That issue is getting worse and stronger and deeper with each spillover. And now it's landed on you, or your friend, or whoever. Do you want to carry that bucket of pain? Do you want to carry that boulder of so much hurt and wounds and everything? Because that thing is probably crushing some people right now. And seriously, stress and anger. You see your father, you get so enraged, can't even explain the anger. Or your anger now blows up out of nowhere, left, right, and center. Someone just says something small or slight to you, you blow up on them as if you're in a war zone or something. And it's kind of like, where did that anger come from? Where did all this stuff come from? It's brewing from all the issues that are happening in your heart. Without you knowing the history, you might just think this is normal for you to feel. But it's not normal. I don't think it's normal, because you're supposed to have peace of mind and in a better state so you can flow and function properly. I'm going to go to this part of the whole season 1 for Boku no Hero Academia, where Deku is calling Todoroki out on his issues. It's almost like he literally said, bro, you have daddy issues, just own up to it and break through that barrier that's holding you back. Like, not a physical chain, more of a heart related, emotional, spiritual chain, something like that, that's holding you back because of the trauma. Todoroki is now like, because Deku was calling him out on so much stuff. So honestly, it's like a therapy session meets Street Fighter. I say this because, you know, anime cliche, there's always a tournament somewhere in some of them. But anyway, so basically Todoroki's therapy session was happening live in real time, and he actually was getting his butt kicked at some part of this, which is, you know, therapists shouldn't do that. But anyway, so when Deku says all these things, all those flashbacks start hitting Todoroki, like, man, his trauma is real. Again, not laughing at his pain, I'm laughing because of how unbelievable and how real this is, even for me and so many people. Todoroki's trauma is real. He's feeling it. It's still echoing in his mind like an endless video. And then Deku says something like, you know, like, it's your power too. As in, he's referring to the fire power. Like he was telling him, Todoroki, don't get too caught up in your feelings, bro. Half your father is you, and half your mother is you. You can't be a half person. You can't deny that there's traits your father has given you. Your good looks, you know, for people out there who have those good looks. Your talents, your skills. There's positive things your father passed on to you biologically. Where to deny that is actually to truly deny yourself. You're not a half person. Nobody ever is. But if you deny yourself, you will always live as a half person, always lacking something. So when Deku says that, if you yelled it, it's your power too. Todoroki just is like, damn. Like, bro, those words that Deku said, that's like, I'm trying to think of a good example. That's like, again, what do you call it? What's what I'm looking for? I'm jumping to Dragon Ball Z, but Super Saiyan Spirit Bomb or whatever. It's like he threw that attack on Todoroki's heart, like broke through whatever wall or sphere that was holding and keeping his trauma there, or keeping him from feeling his heart. And then when he says that, Todoroki's remembering all the stuff, wanting to be a hero, that he had a dream. There was a dream beyond his daddy issues, but that dream was being suppressed by his rage towards his father. And then he's remembering that time when his mom is there with him, they're enjoying the show, watching All Might on TV, and then, you know, his mom says something like, you can be a hero, you don't have to be a prisoner of your own blood. And I say this because a lot of people in this world are prisoners of their own blood. They're prisoners to the pain, the anger, the rage, the daddy issues. They say they're okay, but if you look deep down inside, not the glitzy stuff you put on IG or TikTok or whatever, the laughter, haha, we're good, we're fun. If you look deep enough, you're like, I don't think sis is okay. I don't think this lady's okay. I don't think, bro, you're not okay. You keep pretending. You do all these things, but it's very clear you're not okay. It's someone who's paying attention that'll be like, I don't think this person's okay. Like, as in, not that you're weird, but you're not healthy from the emotional perspective because you don't know how to deal with the pain that's happening there. You have no idea. That's why when you start venting about, oh, dads are trash and all this stuff and all that, that's a sign that you're like, ooh, I think you don't know what to do here. That's why you always keep talking about the anger, where you can't talk about, okay, how do I heal from this? Which is what you need to talk about so that you can get there. So when Todoroki gets hit with this, again, Super Saiyan Spirit Bomb, for those of you who know DBZ or played Budokai or whatever, you might know what that is. And it hits him, like I said, his mom saying, you don't have to be a prisoner of your blood. And I say this to everybody, you do not have to be a prisoner of your daddy issues, but you can be if you stay there. If you choose to stay there, you can be a prisoner. But Jesus is actually here to help set you free, because pain is not always necessary on your journey through life. There's necessary pain and unnecessary pain, but unnecessary pain can almost destroy you altogether. You have the power to choose. Every one of us does. I want you to choose Jesus to help you with what's going on and ask for his help, because he's the one who helped me with my daddy issues. This thing is bigger than you. I say this so much because if you could sort it out on your own, you would have done it. But if you can't, it's kind of like you're drowning and you have no one to help you there. You really need someone else to help you. You're drowning in a lake that you can't swim. Except this lake is all those daddy issues, all the anger, all the rage, all of that stuff. And like, let's imagine like it's like you're 5. If you throw a 5-year-old into a lake that they don't know how to swim in, they will just drown. So you might be drowning. You might be struggling against all the waves of anger, all the bitterness, all of this stuff. And I'm saying, allow Jesus to save you. Work together with him to do all this stuff. Pray and ask him, dear Lord, help me with what's going on. I need your help. This anger is beyond me. Anger, remember, you can't physically touch anger. Just like you cannot physically touch your issues. Your issues, your problems are actually alive in you. They feed off your fear and your weakness and your bitterness and all these things. And that's why you ask Jesus for the help to go internally, to help you to deal with that, so that now when you start walking that journey of healing, you can start to now manifest who he's always destined for you to be. As in someone who has clarity. If you see the person who wronged you, as in your father or stepfather, you're no longer angry, because the anger could manipulate you before, but now it no longer does, because the foundation has shifted from your instability to Jesus being at the foundation of who you are. So again, when Todoroki was told he's not a prisoner of his blood, and he really, really soaked that in, then you now see if you remember the scene, I still remember it. This man lit up like it was going full Super Saiyan, blaze mode, all out, and you're like, man, I didn't know he was this powerful. I mean, the fans also been like, damn, Todoroki just got a level of okay. And then all the frost that's covering him, aka icebox in his heart, remember Omarion icebox where the heart used to be? Oh man, that's an old song. But anyway, so the ice that's been covering his heart with regards to the trauma and also caging the rage, that thing now gets defrosted, and Todoroki starts to feel things again, you know what I mean? And he's like, oh my gosh, I actually do want to be a hero. It's like he was so angry at his dad, he forgot the dream, and it's like he woke up or something, and he's now like, he can't even understand Midoriya. He's like, why would you even do all this? He's like, bro, you made me stronger, we're in a fight right now, but like, why wouldn't you even let this go? And I'm trying to pose it that like, Midoriya is that friend that Jesus can send to you who would not let it go and keep talking to you and saying, bro or sis, you need to fix this thing. You need to actually work on what's happening. And if you allow them to help you with what's going on, at least get you started, you can actually deal with daddy issues. They're not undefeated. They can fall like anything else. And I want you to also just remember that those daddy issues, like I said, they have the history, but their history can end with you. But again, do you even know what's happening in your family? Do you know why everyone's so dysfunctional, but the dysfunctional issues have a source? Who do you even ask? You can ask God for the help. You can ask God for the origin. What the heck has been happening? What's the issue that's tracking this family, that's been messing with my dad, messing with my uncles, messing with my grandfather? Sometimes you can even ask, we all have that auntie or someone in the family who knows everything that's happening, almost like the family Google account. Not that your relative's an account, but like she knows that all the men in the family do this, or all the ladies in the family do that, or we've had this thing happen so many times. And maybe from there you can start to get a sense for, oh snap, this is a real thing. Like it's not just an isolated incident. And maybe now you can start taking steps towards understanding like why your father acts this way. It's not like I say this to everybody, your father doesn't hate you. Do you really think your father grew up as a child who also wanted to feel things and love things? And you think he grew up wanting to hate you or despise you? I mean, there's no degree for that. Who does that? Like, try to imagine and humanize your father, as hard as it may be, because he wasn't always like this. Your mother and your relatives will know that. So where did things go wrong? What happened and changed? Is it that he needs help but doesn't know how to ask for it? Because sometimes some of you here, you know how men are when it comes to getting help, even for the mental health or whatever. Men sometimes view vulnerability as a weakness, depending on who raised them or taught them about it. That if they're vulnerable, it's just going to cause more issues rather than it actually helping to bring about the healing. Vulnerability is a problem in front of the wrong people, yes. But if you place it in front of God and the right people he's placed around you, it can actually truly lead to your healing. And I think knowing the history can help you to get started and start to realize that, okay, you know what? Let's say again, for example, if your dad has struggled with anger and your grandfather's also struggled with anger, I'm talking like actual serious anger issues. If you do not want to repeat this, I can say this as if, because you can do whatever you want to do, but hopefully you want to do what helps you to grow. You can actually, be like, okay, you know what? Ooh, oh man, my dad is in rage mode. I do not like that. So why don't I actually learn how to manage anger and what to do if I'm provoked? AKA, get a book, learn about what anger means. I recommend Anger Management for Dummies. It doesn't mean you're a dummy. It actually means you're smart, because you want to learn about anger, the foundation of it, how to be aware of the signs, what to prep for, and you're actually trying to get the knowledge you need to be able to deal with this specific issue that's happening. So that's just one example, but basically find out the history, ask God for the help, and take those intentional steps to want to address those daddy issues, because internal heartfelt trauma can run long and deep, but it can be healed. You also have to want to be participating with that and asking Jesus for the help, because you can't do it alone. Nobody can. None of us ever can heal on our own. And I'm talking about like internal trauma. None of us can heal on our own. So I hope you have the courage to ask Jesus for the help to get you through that, and hopefully, bring you to a better version of you, because it is possible for you to, like Todoroki, hit blaze mode, you're shining, you're glowing, glowed up and everything emotionally, and now you can evolve and start to help and be a benefit to everyone around you. Yeah. So basically, that's pretty much it for the podcast episode. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please spread the word, tell a friend. You can find us on the socials as usual. IG, Instagram is what I'm referring to. X, formerly known as Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok, Facebook. Hopefully this helped somebody. If it did, put a comment on one of the socials somewhere. If it didn't, that's still fine. Hopefully you find a podcast episode that can help you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, and until next time, I will catch you later. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Peace.